Well, it's Seth Talk, and I am getting ready to go live on Facebook and just waiting for people to join us on Zoom. It is October 11th, 2020, 10/11/2020. And okay, I have to pay attention here. Live on Facebook. So we're posting this to the Seth discussion group. And I think we are live at the moment, and know that we will be posting this to YouTube when we're finished. Live October 11th, 2020. Go live. Oh, gaming, not gaming. Okay, I missed a tab. So we are streaming live on Facebook right now. Welcome all our Facebook participants. And we're just gonna just wait a moment. So today we are starting something a little bit new. We are 3 hours earlier than normal. So I just want to give everybody a moment to notice that we're on and that it's 1 o'clock. We normally do this at 4 o'clock, so we're getting in here a little bit early. And I see 2 people are on. And that it's 1 o'clock. We normally, 2 people are on watching on Facebook, but I can't see who they are. Isn't that crazy? It is not letting me see who people are that are on. So I've got 3 people on. So please feel free to comment if you're on Facebook. Today we are going to do Sci Time, and the topic tonight is going to be painting your mental landscape. And this has come up in my life this week, where I have been changing the way I see things mentally, the way I see things in my head, the way I observe things, the way I imagine things. And I want them to be the best that I can muster up. So, if I see things a little, I don't know, sad or lonely, I imagine brighter colors and things. So anyway, we'll see what Seth has to say a little bit later on. Hi, Audrey. I'm so glad you're here. Audrey has a toothache, so she did not join us on Zoom. She's one of our regular Zoomers, our panelists. So we're glad that you're on and you can type. I hope you feel better today. So I'm going to connect to my cell phone to see if I can see who's on. Oshara is busy doing a project today, so she's not going to be joining me. Okay. right, so, okay, so it's funny, different technologies. My phone is showing me different information than the computer showing me. So Anna is watching and Audrey is watching on Facebook. And I think we're early for our panelists. We expected Mickey and Jeffy to be with us today, and they are the only two that I actually heard from. So we'll just give it a few more minutes. And, maybe we'll just start out with the meditation, and that will give panelists the time to join in. What do you think? Oh, James Christopher is watching and Crystal is on. Crystal said early today, though, 4 p.m. Usually, yes. Last week we chose to bump it up because some of our participants were up until after midnight in England. And some of our West Coast people said it would be better to start their day this way. So we bumped it up to 1 p.m. New York time. Hi, James. And it's going to be this time from now on. So, and yes, it may take people a little while to get used to it. So I think we will start out with the side time, if that's okay with everybody. Um, and Audrey approves. Thanks, Audrey. I always count on you. So what we've been doing is every week I have picked an exercise that Seth had. And this particular one is from Seth Speaks. It's session 574, and it's called Painting Your Mental Landscape. So what I would like for everybody to do on Facebook, or if you're watching this on YouTube later, is just settle in, be in a comfy spot, maybe have your neck or your head supported a little bit, reclining. And let's start by closing our eyes and let's unify the space together using our breath. With our first breath, take it in through your nose all the way down to your belly and now hold. And release fully through your mouth. Now take a second breath all the way down deep into your belly and hold. And release fully through your mouth with a sigh at the end. Now, just listen to my voice as I read Seth's words on painting your mental landscape. With greater practice, the contents of your own mind will become as readily available. You will see your thoughts as clearly as your inner organs. In this case, you may perceive them symbolically through symbols. You will recognize seeing jumbled thoughts, for example, as weeds, which you can simply discard. You can request that the thought content of your mind be translated into an intense image, symbolically representing individual thoughts and the overall mental landscape. Then take out what you do not like and replace it with more positive images. This does not mean that this inner landscape must always be completely sunny, but it does mean that it should be well balanced. A dark and largely brooding inner landscape should alert you that you begin immediately to change it. None of these accomplishments are beyond my readers, though anyone may find any one given feat more difficult than another. You must also realize that I am speaking in practical terms. You can correct a physical condition, for example, in the manner just given. If so, however, by examining the inner landscape of thoughts, you would find the source here that initially brought about the physical ailment. Feelings can be examined in the same way. They will appear differently with much greater mobility. Thoughts, for example, may appear as stationary structures, as flowers or trees, houses or landscapes. Feelings will appear more often in the changing mobility of water, wind, weather, skies, and changing color. Any physical ailment, then, can be perceived in this state by looking inward into the body and discovering it. Then, by changing what you see, you may find yourself entering your body or another's in a very small miniature, or as a point of light, or simply without any substance, yet aware of the inner body environment. You change what needs to be changed in whatever way occurs to you. Then, by directing the body's energy in that direction, by entering the flesh and bringing certain portions together that need this adjustment, by manipulating areas of the spine. Then, from this adjacent platform of A1 consciousness, you perceive the mental thought patterns of yourself or the other person in whatever way you find characteristic of you. You may perceive the thought patterns as quickly flashing sentences or words that are usually seen within your mind or within the other mind, or as black letters that form words. You may hear the words and thoughts being expressed, or you may see the earlier mentioned landscape in which the thoughts symbolically form into a picture. This will show you how the thoughts brought about the physical melody and which ones were involved. The same thing should then be done with the feeling pattern. This may be perceived as bursts of dark or light colors in motion, or simply one particular emotion of great force may be felt. If it is very strong, one emotion may be felt in many such guises. In the case of both thoughts and emotions, with great confidence, you pluck out those that are connected with the malady. In such a manner, you have made adjustments on 3 levels. Now, let's take a few moments to examine our mental landscape. Paint your landscape how it suits you. If you find it dark or murky, add some bright and vibrant colors. Add or take away a tree. Make the sky blue or red or yellow. Add or take away water and change its color. Add a breeze or high winds or just be still. It's all up to you. It's your landscape and you can change it as you see fit and then change it again and again. Now let's take a few minutes of silence to examine our own landscape. Now, all of those who want to stay inside time can do so. For those who are ready to come back to Seth Talk, you may do so. Those who have chosen to stay inside time won't be bothered at all by those who choose to awaken and share their experiences. And when you are ready, take a few deep breaths, wiggle your fingers and toes, open your eyes, and come back to the program. So this is a practice that I have been doing for years, and I had no idea that Seth had this as an exercise. It was first brought to me by my Reiki teacher, and she worked getting very tiny and talked a client into her own body to see what they felt needed healing. And it worked very, very well. And then later on, I experienced a very similar teachings with Bert Goldman doing quantum jumping. Now I practice this in what I call hypno healing, not realizing that Seth had talked about doing this some 50 years ago. So it's just remarkable how people learn certain things not knowing the origins at all, because nobody mentioned Seth to me when they were teaching me these different things, yet Seth clearly said it earlier than anyone else. And it's written down. So this practice that I have been doing for at least 11 years originated with Seth, and it's a beautiful way to help people take charge of their own healing, and physical healing of their body. It helps to take pain away and to heal different things that may be hurt or not in balance, um, as well as just changing your outlook on life and painting a more rosy picture. So I really resonated with this one when I read it. All right. Well, Jeff Kiefer is trying to get on, and it says I have another meeting in progress. So give me a minute to try to get him on. Um, hmm, 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 hmm. Copy the link. It is hard to do the text stuff when when I'm the only one here. So let me drop him a note, give him the coordinates to get in, and send. Oh, today is just one of those days. It won't let me send an email. Let's try it again. Send. Okay. All right, Jeff, I just sent another email, and all that's on there is the link. Oh my gosh, I don't know if anybody can get on. Mickey can't get on. Martin can't get on. Okay. Well, I don't know what's happening. Let's try something else. All right. I am going to send out the invitation to the entire group all over again. So give me a moment. I am so sorry for this. Okay, so all those panelists, please, please try. Oh, there's Jeff. Look at there. Okay, I can admit Jeff in. I just sent out the new email to everyone. I have no idea what happened. There's Jeff. No.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh my gosh. I have no idea what happened. There is Jeff. No.
Hi, can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me?
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. I have no idea what happened. There is Jeff.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jeff. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. You can't hear me? Can you hear me, Jeff? I can hear you fine.
Okay, yeah, no. I had started to do too many things at one time here.
Well, apparently everything got messed up. I have.
Yeah, I know what happened.
What?
The original meeting invite that you sent out was just a copy of the one before it, and the meeting has changed.
Oh, okay. Well, everybody
So
got the.
I was trying to attend a meeting that wasn't going on right now. The last one you sent me was fine.
Okay. Okay, good. So,
the little short one.
But Martin couldn't get on, and Mickey can't get on. So I'm hoping that they're able to pop
Just
on.
follow that link, that new link. Yeah.
Okay, so Martin's on Facebook and he can hear you, Jeff. So I did the meditation. I have no idea. Can somebody on Facebook tell me, could you hear the meditation, or was it totally?
I could hear it.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, this is crazy. Mickey's so sweet.
I thought it was you did a yeoman's job filling in when nobody showed up.
Oh, what was I gonna do? Mickey,
I know exactly.
She says, you just take your time, Kate. When it's supposed to, it will connect. All right. Well, so
that last email you sent me with just the link in it worked fine.
Okay, well, that's not what I sent everybody else. I only sent that to you. I sent everybody else the whole invite.
That had the old one.
No,
that's the old link.
Well, I pulled it from
That's what I was trying to use.
Okay.
Okay, you're the boss.
Oh, here comes Mickey. Good, it worked. Crazy. So Jeff, were you able to do the meditation, or did you jump on in the middle? Hi, Mickey.
I was working out the technical difficulties.
Okay.
My technical difficulty is how to contact you to tell you I can't get in. That was my technical difficulty.
This is so crazy because we've been doing this since what, April and March? I don't even know when we started. March, I guess. And we still have issues. But did you notice I got my background to go away?
Yes, that's right.
I had to delete. I bet that's why it's a new everything, because I had to delete everything and start over. Oh my.
Wow.
So I'm guessing that everybody, or the people who needed to hear that meditation, heard it without any distractions. That's why it took us some time to get on.
Okay, maybe. Maybe. So, Jeff, are you able to do the meditation?
Yeah,
Or did you jump on in the middle? Hi, Mickey.
I can hear it.
Okay, maybe. Maybe. That's so funny. It's hysterical. And as I was reading the meditation, and I did mention this, I don't know if anybody heard it though, so it bears saying again. But I have been doing that kind of a practice with my clients with Reiki for 11 years now. And
Wow.
I had no idea that it originated, 50 years prior to that with Seth. I learned it from my Reiki teacher. It was an advanced practice that she had learned, and she didn't tell me where she got it from. And I don't think she was familiar with the Seth material. And then Bert Goldman also did a very similar piece on his quantum jumping. So I have been doing this meditation with other people, having them go into their own body and seeing what's there, what kind of blockages, and what can we do to fix them, and how can we change what's going on. And it's so effective for having people take charge of their own health and healing.
So we
It's
missed
amazing.
the meditation.
You missed it?
I'm asking, you've already done the meditation.
I did because nobody was here. Au-
Oh, that
Audrey
was
was,
early. You don't ever do it that
I was,
early.
I was all by myself, so I panicked and I did the meditation.
And that's so funny to me because,
I
like I
thought you were
said,
fabulous.
I knew I knew Bert Goldman not from Seth, but from Silver Mind Control.
Right. And
Yeah.
so I have to wonder, so much of what Bert did and talked about, Seth doesn't talk about the same stuff.
Hmm.
Yet, who came earlier,
Well, he never mentioned Seth
No, he did
in
not.
Silver Mind, and
No.
he had all these big programs that he did, and we all took part. You know,
And it
that's amazing.
and did you find that they were very Seth-like? Because they so are.
Oh yeah, but you see, everything I did, I only embraced these things because they went with what I was learning from Seth. I had done Seth years before I ran into Silver Mine, and I had already started with Rick Stack.
Okay.
So it was like a year or two after that that I ran in and did, the whole Silver Mind Control thing for a
Mhm.
couple of years. And so Burt Goldman was part of that. And there's this something Graham, I forget her, June Graham, and Paul Rivas, and these were all people big in the whole silver mind control thing. And at that point, Jose Silva was still alive. His daughter wasn't running things; he was.
Okay.
So it's come a long way since then.
It has, and I've never really experienced the Silva mind control information. I just fell in love with Bert's teachings, and I have been doing quantum jumping for, well, 10 over 10 years,
Yeah.
and I'm just starting, well, yeah, because, and you guys all know that I'm only about 4 years into learning about Seth material, that I'm finding the more I dig into it, it's like, oh, I've been doing that.
Well, you see, Seth was the first. He came out with all of this stuff, and suddenly the whole New Age thing burgeoned. It just went berserk because you had, what was the lady with Rampa and out in Wyoming or Wisconsin? Wisconsin, I think it is. I
Yeah,
can't think of her name.
I don't know her name either.
But Rampa is this 35,000-year-old warrior who then taught Shirley MacLaine. And Shirley MacLaine then went off on her own and wrote all these books about her experiences in the whole New Age thing, where she was on the mountaintop and the truck was driving by itself and all this stuff.
Wow.
So all kinds of things happened, but they happened after Seth, after
Right.
Jane published all of that and led us all into how to access these other parts of our personalities and make contact with other minds.
Yes. Yeah. It's becoming so apparent. Everything Seth said is so doable by people, by everyone, that nobody, I mean, we really are limitless beings,
Yeah,
and the more I practice and the more I read Seth and understand it, the more I really believe it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible stuff. It led. to so much other stuff. I mean, you had S then, and Werner Earhart with his S, and
Mhm.
all kinds of people. You had Chris Griscom out in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, New Mexico,
Okay.
and
These are all
her.
names I have not heard before.
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think of what she called it. Something is a new frequency. I think she called it love is a new frequency. Something is a new
Oh.
frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And she was powerful. I mean, when you did her stuff, you definitely made contact with all sorts of folks who did things for you.
Wow.
And but it was so expensive. It was over $3,000. So I
Oh,
just bought the books, and yet the books did a good job too.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I have a friend of 20 years that I only just found out the other day had studied with her. He
Oh,
went out there,
okay.
and
So I never met Bert, but I felt like I knew him.
oh,
I never met him. I bought his 3 packs of CDs of the quantum jumping. So the first one I bought was actually called PDQ for
uh-huh,
Parallel Dimension Quest. Then he
uh-huh.
changed the name to quantum jumping. So I bought 2 of them, and then the third one he had moved with what is the name of that company? I can't mind. Gosh, I don't remember the name of it now. Anyway, he partnered with someone that made his stuff more professional.
Uh-huh.
I preferred his original
His
ones
old
that
stuff, yeah.
were
Because I'm
just him.
preferring what went even before that. Because when he was with Silver Mind, he hadn't done any of those modules and packages. And I'll
Yes.
have to go and dig through my books and find out what the name was back then, because it was
Oh,
something
wow.
entirely different.
Could be.
It
And
was very hands-on. He would come to the classes and everything, that
mm,
were being held there. So in New York.
one
So
of the things that he had on was he used to do Facebook, not Facebook. He used to do YouTube videos,
oh yeah.
10 minutes once a week, but he did 2 sets. He did one for bertgoldman.com and he did one for the American Monk, right? He called
Ah,
himself the American Monk.
oh,
And
there were loads of those.
when the other company, God, I wish I could think of the name of that other company. Anyway, when they bought the rights to publish his work, all of the free stuff disappeared.
Oh, yes,
Not there
yes, yes.
anymore.
Uh-huh.
And I had links to everything, but I never thought about saving them because they were on the internet. So
Well, there's also Centerpoint.
Centerpoint. Okay.
That's another one where they started out with the subliminal tapes where you would write them and tell them everything you wanted and what you wanted to accomplish in your life. And then they would set up these tapes where there was the track underneath. You had all the beautiful music and everything, but underneath where you couldn't hear it
Oh, okay.
were all of your desires and wishes, which were then being pumped back into you when you put on the headphones.
Okay.
So it was very effective,
Oh,
but that
wow.
too was expensive. And I think they were
Hmm.
about $300 a module. But you
Mhm.
went on with this over a long time. And then each time you had accomplished what that set was, you could go to the next level and you had a whole new set of things you wanted that they would set
Okay.
up for you, you know.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's still going.
Wow. I'd never
Hmm.
heard of that either. Thank you for this.
Mm.
But it's so amazing that, here Seth is our teacher and he started it all.
Yes, yes, he
And
did.
his stuff is the most timeless of all.
It
Yeah.
really is. But I think what happened was
Just one
Seth was
second,
so
Nikki.
pure. Yeah.
My teacher is on Facebook and
Oh,
she is saying, I am searching my memory banks to remember where and how I was taught or learned about this healing energetic technique. So, it's crazy. Could it be that once Seth put this all out into the universe, even those that did not physically read it found it in other ways? Because it is put out there and we do have access to all this.
oh yeah. I think he did.
Yeah.
I think he has mentioned in
You know,
several places that he was teaching to others. He was setting seeds, I think it was called, dropping seeds of in other places so that it would grow. But
Well,
my thought was that the Seth information, I hesitate to say the Seth material because that's actually a title, but the Seth information was so pure and so effective, but it was a bit much for most people because it went so far against the grain of the BS they had been taught over centuries. So people found it hard to embrace because they had to turn loose so much of what they knew. And these other folks who were learning it and learning from it went on to do their own thing because they then couched it in terms that people could accept a little easier.
mhm,
You know, they
yeah,
found innovative ways that they could package the information. It's the same stuff, and they got it from Seth, but it had been put into a lot of different retail packages that
right.
people over the years have been able to use over and over again. I mean, because like I said, Centerpoint's still going. I still get emails from them and,
Oh, wow.
saying, come back and get this and get that. And I'm like, I don't need it.
Ah,
You know,
right. Because we
you,
can do this ourselves.
yeah.
And that is what I did is I call it hypno healing. So I
Mm-hmm.
combine the hypnosis with the Reiki and then involve the client to partake in their own healing because
Yeah,
I can go into their body and yes, I can look around, but for them to do it themselves is so empowering.
it
And
is.
and
But
and then
even some people can't handle that either.
it's
They
true, but I
have
have not
trouble.
run across anybody that has been unable to do it yet,
Hmm.
which
No,
is
it's not that they can't. I'm saying some people have all these different hangups in place that prevent them from accepting their own power. So they find that they have a need, a guru syndrome. It's easy to accept something when someone else says, well, I looked in there and I saw this and this, and you need to do something about it. Oh, yes, okay, fine. But
yeah.
when you tell them that all you have to do is ask, then they're in trouble because they're not trusting that it's okay for them to do it. You
Uh,
know, there are a lot of systems out there that require you to have some big daddy guru that's going to tell you things.
mm,
Mm.
hmm.
But that's the Piscean age. That's do as I tell you, do as I say, believe what I tell you.
I
And the
think,
Aquarian age is here's the information.
yeah, I think I'm seeing that change a little bit. And my approach
Yeah.
is, I don't want to think of myself as a guru at all, but I help them to get to that place where they can see for themselves. I'm not telling them what they're seeing or what's there, but I'm guiding them to
Yeah,
see it themselves and then absolutely telling them, you can go home and do this yourself. You
yeah.
don't need to do this. You can do this before you fall asleep or when you wake up or middle of the day, it doesn't matter. And you have this power to see and change your inner landscape.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
And
you
I
have to
didn't use
jump
those
on.
words. That's amazing.
You have to jump on at the place that fits your need because there's so many ways to do all this.
Yeah.
And you have to know yourself well enough to know which thing fits for you. A lot of people are worried about making you do it their way. Yes, but the Bible, this and so forth, and I can't turn, but this is the book. I had an admonishing from somebody earlier today. No, but the book says, I said, but that's not my book. I'm into a different book. And they were absolutely scandalized. How dare you? You know, well,
Yeah,
everybody who was born on the planet wasn't born into a culture that used that as their beacon, you know. So it doesn't mean that every other beacon is crap,
Mm-hmm. Right.
but for so many people, they can't accept that.
Mm-hmm.
So that made
Seth,
what?
Seth says not to look to anybody else, to look inside yourself and
Right,
find your own answers.
right. But people don't, they've been told not to do that.
Yeah.
Hello, Martin.
Hi.
How are you, sweetheart?
Good.
Hi,
Hello,
Hi,
Buddha.
Jeff. Yeah. Took me a while to
hey,
get here. I figured it out.
Well, I am so sorry.
No, it's okay.
And the people on Facebook were so kind, and they're like, just don't even worry about the technical stuff.
Yeah.
And my teacher, she said that hers was a intuitive practice. So she thought that spirit may have taught her. She doesn't know. She doesn't remember. And she said maybe it was Seth. However, maybe it was Seth in spirit. If
Yes,
you know,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
yes, it
I think he
absolutely.
called himself, he wore many hats,
Yes, yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And a lot of people get very upset about whether or not it's Seth coming through and blah, blah. Yeah, but it might be someone named something else and still be Seth.
Yeah.
You know what? You are so right.
Right.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I think Seth is such a wise, smart being that if I were to come back today, I would use a different name.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Seth is not a singularity. Seth is not a person or an individual. Seth
a
has
group.
always said he's a cluster personality,
Yes.
and the personalities combine, I think, depending upon the need.
Yes. And
So
especially since it came
other
down through the
clusters,
ages, of the times, even
other
before that.
personalities, other personalities cluster together and channel through other people, and
Yes.
some of the bits and pieces that are part of the Seth cluster personality are also intertwined in the other cluster personalities.
Yes.
So although it's not Seth, it could be, like first cousins to Seth, or
Yes,
future
exactly.
probable Seth.
Or parents.
Yeah.
True.
higher level stand.
Yeah.
But I get upset. Well, I shouldn't say upset, but I get very frustrated by and disappointed that so many people try to limit God. They're telling you that, well, God said this and God said that, and he only said, no, it can only be like this. And I think that it takes a lot of balls to try and dictate what God can do when you start to understand how super vast the possibilities are. I mean, the whole thing of what the Godhead is, it's so phenomenally humongous compared to the tiny bit of it we even know about. How dare you try to limit what God can say and express,
We're
or create?
trying to wrap our mind around who Seth is, and God is even more like that.
And God made that, I mean, and all the levels of it. And when you think about all the quantum stuff that's being brought out now, and then say, well, now we're talking about a being that created all of that, and we can't even understand it yet. I struggle with all the definitions in physics, but it's the tiniest window of what we know.
I have a bookmark about Seth and what he wants to be called, and Seth says, I believe this is in the early sessions, you may call me whatever you choose. I call myself Seth. It fits the me of me, the personality most clearly approximating the whole self I am, or I'm trying to be.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I think that's in the 4th session. We have that manuscript in apartment 5. It's up there, and it is one of my favorites as well.
I have to, if I could just take a moment and talk to our friends and our Facebookian friends. And last time, our last session, somebody mentioned in Facebook chat fragment personalities. And that triggered something inside of me. And I don't know if the person who talked about it our last session is on Facebook chat, but I really, really want to thank them because it started me on a new journey down a rabbit hole.
Right, me too.
And I started researching fragment personalities because I was confused on, future selves, fragment personalities. There's a lot of terms out there. And it led me to the early sessions, book 1. which I had never read.
I'm
I've never
about
read
to.
the early sessions. So
Yeah.
I got the Kindle Reader. I have it open here, and it's all about fragment personalities. I've never read the first session of Seth, and lo and behold, there it is when Seth came as Frank Watts, which is a
Yes.
fragment personality of Seth.
On the Ouija board.
And
Yes.
I'm so excited because it's like I'm new to Seth again. I've got 9 books I can read, and they're all the information that I've touched in, but it seems to be highlighted here. And I'm all excited about reading. And I have Seth books everywhere. I have browsers open, and I find it really, which ties into something we were talking about earlier here, the Seth body of work. You don't have to read each book from beginning to end. You can kind of just jump in anywhere. Just open a book and start reading,
Yes.
and you're there. And I find that very interesting. And another thing I find interesting is Seth says that the way he writes the books triggers things in your own consciousness,
Right.
awarenesses, and learning.
Right.
And I find myself going back to books I probably haven't read in many years, and I know that there's something in there that I'm looking for, but all of a sudden I'm finding other things.
Yes.
I don't know if people who have been studying Seth for, a very long time have done the same thing. They'll go to a book that's familiar to them, but all of a sudden you're reading about something else.
Yes.
And I find that very, very strange, but interesting.
Oshara has said over and over, every time we start a new book reading group, and at 4:00 we're going to be doing one and doing Nature of Personal Reality. And she said every time she does it with another group or reads it herself, different aspects of the book jump out where she maybe didn't, it didn't go as deep the first time she read it, or the second or third or fourth time.
Right.
She maintains that the 3 books, the Seth books, Seth Speaks, really the 2 of them, Seth Speaks and Nature of Personal Reality. If you just read them over and over and over and over and over, you're good to go. And
And
she's
you get
she's
something
read
new
all.
out of them every time.
Absolutely, yes. I certainly do. I mean, these meditations I'm doing for side time, so far they've all but one have been from Seth Speaks. Now I've read that book twice. I haven't read all the other books, but I've read that one twice. And
Yeah.
I did not get that they were even exercises that we could do. It was just a part of reading a book. So because I'm picking them out in the way I'm doing, they have an entirely different meaning to me. So
I just love the Seth preface in Seth Speaks. I don't know it exactly, but it has some sort of same meaning as he believes in us and we should believe in him. It was right at the very beginning of Seth Speaks.
Okay.
I have a couple sentences as far as fragment personality goes for our Facebook person who was interested in what is a fragment personality.
Go ahead.
And this is Seth speaking in the early sessions, book 1. And he says, in a sense, all things could be called fragments, but there are different kinds. Personality fragments differ from others in that they can cause other fragments to form from themselves. A personality fragment has all the properties of its parents inherent, although it may not know how to use them. Interesting, huh?
Wow.
That is interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
So I'm guessing we're personality fragments of our higher self.
Yes.
Yes.
And that we can also have personality fragments, although we're not aware of them. I think he says that although we're not aware of them.
So when I read those words, Jeff, I have read those words before, and I think it's amazing. It takes me back to A Course in Miracles when it talks about the when the Christ consciousness asked the question, well, what would it be like if I were separate from God? And that's when the
Mhm.
fragments happened. I correlate those two pieces, what Seth said with that. And then when Seth says that we truly are gods, we just don't remember how to use it. We are a fragment
Mhm.
of all that is. So and what Seth
Yeah.
just said is we have all the power and abilities of the whole. We just don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're learning because Seth is helping us to get there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That
here
was what I was saying about we are sparks from deity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes.
the last tidbit I have on personality fragments is the entity gives the fragment independent life, and then the entity more or less forgets about them. How sad.
Oh,
Interesting.
That's my little contribution.
But then they'd each have their own timeline and karma and all of that then that they were functioning on, operating as an operating system. Off they go. It's
Wait,
like when you have children. You're only nurturing them for a certain number of years and then they get their own independence and they go off and they might be nothing like either parent. But they're valid beings with their own karma.
Seth says that animals are personality fragments. This is not part of that, but I'm saying that's what I remember. So I guess that we can fragment. It goes round and round, and sometimes I get lost in it all.
That's wonderful.
So I want to know, how is that different than probable selves? There's one for everyone.
well, I think probable selves could be a fragment of us. So that could be how we fragment
Yeah.
our self when we make different choices or choices are made for us and push us in a certain direction, that there is that probable fragmented self that goes somewhere else and experiences life in an entirely different way, and that we can tap into that and tap into their knowledge and experiences and ask our probable selves to assist us as well.
Yes, I do that a lot.
So I don't know whether to call it a fragmented self, probable self, doppelganger,
Or counterpart.
or counterpart, or and are we the
Just
original
to throw
entity,
another
or
one
is
in
there
there.
more? It's just, and we are beings that we look at everything in levels like this, and maybe we should look at them this way,
Exactly.
horizontal.
Exactly.
That's what I was going to say. We have to get past this this idea
Hierarchy.
that time is linear. No
Exactly.
linear time. It's all simultaneous. So we really don't go anywhere. We just kind of vibrate differently into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, as we pick a different waveform to resonate with, then you literally step from one path onto a different path. The first path didn't go anywhere, but you are now focused on a different one. So you have different experiences. And you might stay on that from then on, and another and another and another.
Like
But
thoughts
you're
attract
moving
like thoughts.
horizontally. You're moving not in a linear time thing, but you're moving through various aspects of things that manifest. It's we
The
are
space that we
beings.
occupy as I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You can
No,
continue.
go ahead. The space that we what?
I was thinking the space that we occupy. I mean, right now, I just see myself as this little starburst. I mean, all people, all of us, are these little starbursts. And here's my face, but here's really the space that I occupy. I'm filling this form, but this is me, this little starburst. And a cousin of mine, when her father passed away, she said she saw all these little butterflies flying around him. And then she
Wow.
realized what they were. They were all these spirits that were coming to greet him. They weren't
Ooh.
butterflies, they were these little starbursts. Yeah.
Oh,
And that's really that's our
Incredible.
native form, I think, that we tend to relax into. Of course, it can expand infinitely, but I think generally, normally or regularly, it occupies that format. If I'm
That's
saying it
interesting.
right. Yeah,
I think that's
yeah,
very interesting.
yeah.
hmm,
I agree with you.
yes, yeah. Now, I want to say we have a friend on Facebook, James, and he is hearing a beeping from one of the four of us. And Martin, I think it's you. He's asking that you check your smoke or carbon monoxide detectors.
Uh,
He's hearing that little
Oh,
chirping sound. So he's just, he's just
oh, that is, I get so used to hearing that. I don't, yeah, I need to change the
like,
battery in it.
check that for your
That's true.
safety. So thank you, James, for caring
Yeah,
enough to. And I was reading
yeah.
his message,
It
and I'm
wants,
like, well, that's weird. Well, this is the time when the time change happens. It is the time that
yeah,
we do check our batteries, right? Every
right.
6 months. That's what they say. And I thought, oh, he's just giving us a public announcement. But no, he's hearing that chirping sound. So thank you, James.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's right next to my phone, and
Okay.
it's still pretty good battery, but it wants to be renewed. So I do
Okay.
put it in.
it's interesting that you mentioned that because I just went through an experience where I had burnt some bacon, and because of the smoke and everything, I thought once the smoke would dissipate, I opened the kitchen door, let the smoke out. But this alarm went off, and I knew that it was not a smoke detector, it was a carbon monoxide
Mhm.
detector. So I thought, oh, I wish it would shut up. There's nothing. It's just smoke is gone now. The whole thing is over now. It was hours later, and I had to call the gas company and tell them, how do I turn this thing off? It won't stop. And I said, the emergency was long ago, and they insisted on sending an engineer out. And I said, but I don't need it anymore. I said, but by law, we have to do that if it goes off. So when he came and he checked the stove, he realized that, everything was gone, the smoke was gone. And when he started to put the thing over the stove, that's when we found out that it was leaking carbon monoxide. I've been here for
Mm,
years,
Wow.
and we didn't know that that particular stove, it was an old one, was leaking carbon monoxide. And he says, you wouldn't have smelled a thing. You
No.
just suddenly dropped dead.
Yes.
So the stove had
mm,
to be replaced and a whole bunch of other consequences just from me burning the bacon.
Wow. And, a
wow.
very similar thing happened to Oshar and I when we were living in 1A at the Seth house.
Oh,
I kept hearing this chirping sound, and I would open the door and then it would go off. And I'm like, am
oh,
I losing my mind? I could hear this sound, but it was far away. And Oshara did not hear it. And then I would hear it again. And I'm like, and she's like, are you sure it's not spirit? I'm like, no, it's not. It's a chirping. It's crazy. Well, what we found out, the fire department started knocking on the door. What was happening was it was down where in the basement where the furnace
oh,
was. And the guy that lived in apartment 2 or 1 of the apartments, the one up front, he was fanning it, trying to make it stop. So he would
oh,
make it stop. And that's when I was listening for it. So
right.
so he ended up calling them to turn it off, just like you did. And they
Mhm.
came in and it was flooding into our apartment. And it was,
Wow.
I mean, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. They're like, you wouldn't have woke up.
No,
That
you
would,
wouldn't. That's
Oh,
what he said. You
yeah.
just wouldn't have known.
Yep.
It was interesting to me when he said the smell you get when you smell gas. That's something they added so you could tell
Yeah.
because
Sulfur.
right.
gas
Yep.
by itself it doesn't have a smell.
Correct. Yep. Yep.
So
Yeah. So I heed those warnings, and they
yeah,
are a good thing. And
yeah, they
so
are.
so you
They
better
are.
change your battery, Martin.
It was an
Yeah.
idea whose time had come, Martin.
The way my mind works, I love repetitive noises. So
Oh,
that's
I
one of the
don't.
repetitive noises that I kind of enjoy, but
Now
I shouldn't
that
enjoy
will
it.
drive me right up the wall. I can't handle repetitive noises.
When
I
alarms
go
go off
berserk.
at work, I have a tendency not to notice them because I mean, I do notice them, but I have a tendency, I'm inclined not to. I'm inclined to just like, gee, I like that tune.
Uh-huh.
That would have me absolutely tearing my hair out. I
Yeah.
can't take repetitive noises.
Mm,
That's the
yeah.
difference in our neurologies, you and me.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure.
Oh gosh.
I have a Seth question.
Oh, yes.
I have a list of terms that I'm going to be brushing up on. And the one, I've only heard it a few times and I know nothing about it. And maybe you Seth gurus can help me. And it's mental enzymes.
Oh.
Seth talks about mental enzymes.
Ooh, how interesting.
I don't know that I ever heard that term.
Me either.
Huh.
Okay, you know what? I'll look into it and I'll tell you what I find.
Okay. Did you
Are you
check,
still
did
looking
you
at the
check it on
first
Finding
book?
Seth?
No, I just made notes of terms that I want to brush up on. And I know that mental enzymes I haven't heard for years and years and years. I don't know how much is talked about, or whether it's such a complex subject that people just kind of gloss over it. So I'm going to check in on that. The other set terms that I'm looking at, one, fragment personalities, probable selves, idea construction, feeling tones, and mental enzymes.
Mm.
That's on my to learn list or to brush up on list.
All right.
Mental enzymes.
We look forward to you bringing them to us. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think everybody's familiar with idea construction. That's
Yes.
what that's.
But not the mental enzymes.
Right. Right.
Mental enzymes. Yeah.
It'd be like a
I
process
know.
for absorbing information, I suppose.
I don't know.
I have
know.
no idea.
Oh,
I have no idea.
yeah.
I'll find out though.
All right. See, the geek in
That's
me,
Yeah, sounds interesting.
the geek in me wants to go to Finding Seth and put that in.
That's probably what I'll do just to find out where I can find it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm. I was thinking it too.
Yeah. And all these books, you know, to tell all the people out here that are new to Seth, because every week I hear that, oh, I just found Seth, or this was interesting, or I just ran across the Facebook page, or, whatever. But every book that Seth and Jane both put out are still in print. So you can get them. And I think from Rick Stack, his website, I'm not sure the exact name of it.
Seth Center.
Seth Center. Okay.
Seth
So you
Center.
go to
.org.
sethcenter.org.
Org, I think.
If you go there, I think you can order all of the Seth books. Now,
Yeah.
Rick publishes the 4-volume class sessions, the 9-volume early sessions,
Early
and the
sessions.
7-volume personal sessions.
Mhm.
But you can also purchase from him the Seth material, Seth Speaks, Nature of Personal Reality, which are with another publisher, but you can get them from him as well. And then I think many of the books are now on Amazon and Kindle. So you can get them in any of those places, brand new, or you can find many books on Amazon as used. But it was really pointed out that, spend your money with the people that promote the Seth material. And but used books are good too. I mean, we buy used books because we give them away. So we just can't buy brand new ones for everybody. We've given away more than, I care to think about. But we like to share the knowledge.
Yeah.
Mental enzymes are behind the physical stuff that you can examine on your plane. Ooh, that sounds good. I'm going to do a deep dive on that.
Ooh,
Ah,
nice.
And that's in
interesting.
the early session, the early session, book 1, session 13. It says
I
chlorophyll is
just
a
got the
mental
first
enzyme.
book, so I can't wait to go look
I
at
just
that.
got it
It's
too.
sitting 3 feet from me, and I'm trying not to jump up and grab it and start playing.
This is great. And Oshar and I
So
both,
it would be in session 13 of that book.
Okay, I will remember.
That's what the Seth search engine said. Yeah, no, I'm
I
going
have
to do
my
it
nose
too.
deep into that tonight. I really will.
nice, nice.
I
Now,
wondered, huh?
And session 9 is all about fragment personalities.
Ah,
So you're going to be right in the thick of all of it in
yes,
book 1.
and
yeah, because
the beauty of that is those early sessions are the first, 510 sessions that lead up to Seth Speaks.
exactly.
So this is really Seth teaching Jane and Rob everything that led up to him being able to actually dictate an entire book.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm so glad that they finally published those.
I am too.
I don't think I could appreciate the early sessions as much as I do now if I wasn't as familiar with the other work.
Hmm.
I agree.
Because a lot of these, for people who are just picking up a first book, the early sessions, they would have no idea what all this stuff means.
Hmm.
Right, right. Now, if you start with the Seth material, that has the early sessions smothered
Yeah,
throughout that,
yeah, it does.
here and there. But really, to start with Seth Speaks and Nature of Personal Reality, that's where people need to begin.
I usually explain that the Seth material, you start there because it's the first, but it's where she's explaining
Yes.
her take on things, and that when she asked him if she could do it, he said yes, but if you let me, when you finish it, let me have my own book. And that's where you get the Seth Speaks, because he
Oh.
comes and speaks for himself
Mhm.
after she's talking about, guess what's happening to me? And he says, yeah, and I'm it. And this is
No.
what I want to say. So
Yeah, yeah,
that dynamic is very
Interesting.
interesting.
it is. It is. Joe has joined us on Facebook, and she said, "Hi, Seth friends. You
Hello,
were
Joe.
talking about
Hi.
healing."
Oh,
Well, so she goes on to say this happened to her today. So past Monday, she had a great birthday. Her cousin and her had a Pink Floyd paint pouring party. Great
Ooh, hoo,
fun.
hoo, hoo.
Then a couple of days later, I drank some leftover fruit juice, and oh boy, I should not have done that. Next morning, I woke up and all hell broke loose in my belly. Lost 2 kilos in 3 days. A lot better, luckily, today, because this morning she woke up with a blanket of super warm love all over her body. I asked, "Who is this?" I heard say Angel. I tell this now because, wow, how much help can we receive when we're in trouble? An angel part of your higher
Mm,
self can come rushing in when you need it.
that's great.
It is. It is. Thanks,
That's
Joe,
really
for
great.
sharing that. And yeah,
Don't forget to ask.
yeah,
When
absolutely.
you're in
Yes.
trouble, don't forget to ask.
Last week, I didn't say very much. I was really quiet. I had the worst toothache I've ever had. Monday, I called the
Oh,
dentist and I ended up getting an antibiotic. So I haven't seen anybody yet. I see them tomorrow, but the pain finally went away around Tuesday. And I just thought, it was something simple because I'd had the pain for like 6 days. But I kept thinking, oh, it'll just go away, just go away. Well, it didn't. So I think it's a root canal. But anyway, you know what? I never asked for help. I just did
mhm.
the logical things, the salt water wash and things like that. So yes, don't forget to ask. Thank you, Jeffrey. I wish I would have told you I had a toothache last week.
Yes.
suck on a
Well,
plain
I ask a
calcium
lot.
pill.
Say that, Martin?
Suck on a plain calcium pill. I know it sounds gross, but it works for me.
Oh,
If I have any
Oh,
kind of tooth
a
pain, yeah,
calcium
gets
tablet.
rid of it immediately. For me,
Wow, calcium.
yeah,
Wow.
Mm.
Okay.
it's like
All right.
sucking on a little piece of chalk, but it works.
Now, Audrey,
Mm-hmm.
she's got a toothache right now, and I told her, I'm like, I kind of hid it from everybody last week. I felt like such a baby, but I mean, by Monday, my whole face hurt. I couldn't tell where anything hurt. It was so bad.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
I didn't think to, do this
Mm.
meditation, go into my own body, see what's going on, and try to fix it myself. No.
Mm-hmm.
So using
That's
using the
amazing.
the the skills that we have for ourselves is just as important as for other people.
Yeah,
I'm
it
learning
is.
this. Yeah.
It really
Ev-
is.
yeah, learning this. It's so much easier to help other people by telling them things that I know, and I forget about it for myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did a lot of meditations over the last week where I was asking for help in
Mhm.
various different ways for various different things that, in my life. And it's amazing how many different types of help come. It's not always the same thing. It's not always, the same angel or the same probable self or what have you, but you just trust that the help will come, and it does. It leads you. I don't mean that it goes, "Phew, you're healed," or "Phew, it's all fixed. No, but what it does is lead your own thoughts to what it is you should have thought about that can help, at least in my case.
Mm.
And it's amazing to figure out that, oh gosh, why didn't I think of that? Yeah, but the help's there.
Mhm.
It is. And Seth said, check in with your inner self, check in with your entity. You have all the abilities, and we have the abilities to heal ourselves too. It's all
Yeah.
there.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah, you have
somewhere,
to,
I think he said the only thing that really wasn't is to grow an appendage. I think that was
Uh-huh.
the only limitation I ever heard in the books.
Yeah, but he wasn't talking to a gecko.
True, true.
Uh,
I think it helps to be mindful that the the world in which we live in, that we perceive to live in, we are bombarded almost 24 hours a day, uh, even consciously and subliminally, to that we don't feel good, to use drugs, buy this drug, buy that drug, you'll feel
Yes.
better, eat this thing, you'll feel better, which means you don't feel better to begin with. And it's really, really difficult sometimes to get in the habit of living in wellness
Hmm.
instead of sickness. So
Yeah.
It's
living in
true.
wellness helps a lot of people turn their life around.
Hi,
Another thing is
Charlie.
that when you're asking for this help, that you need to really, really, truly cultivate the habit of being quiet and allowing the information to come through, to literally rise up through your own consciousness to where you can see it. You know what I mean?
mm.
But if you are forever on your Xbox and your TV and your PC and your
Yep.
Spotify and so forth. I mean, there is never a point at which your mind isn't being bombarded by a lot of external hoo ha. If you just simply shut up, lay down, and be quiet.
Yes.
And it takes a while, but your mind will start to vibrate on a different resonance. I mean, you can really feel a difference after a certain point. The quiet has its own characteristics that you start to notice. And you couldn't have noticed any of that while you were hearing all that other garbage.
Mhm.
You're
Right.
such a
Turn
media conscious.
turn the TV off. Yeah,
Yeah.
turn the TV
Mm.
off. So we have a Facebook person, Carol, and she would like us to talk about mass events and the times we're in. Love that book about how we
Uh,
collectively summon up our weather, pandemics, politics. How does this serve us? Why would we do this to ourselves? That was her, that was what she would like to hear us talk about. Um, I didn't
Mm.
I didn't finish that book.
And
So,
thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. I
Joe.
also saw your message just now, and I just want to thank you for that. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So, that the last question is, why would we do this to ourselves? Well, clearly the mass here has to experience something. Prearranged, prearranged, then there's those of us that are feeling very safe and contained in our own places. I don't know. I don't know why we would do this to ourselves.
Yeah, I can remember Seth saying that our lives are like dramas that we plan out before we get here. We plan it, all the people we're going to come into contact with. You're going to have leading roles and you're going to have bit parts. And it's the same people that we know in Framework 2 that come and be part of our drama, life after life. And it's just it's like a drama, and it's all pre-planned before we come here to experience it. And the people we know, we've generally known forever anyway. They're just here in different forms, taking different roles. Why we do it, I don't know. Why would the born quadriplegic choose to be born that way into that type of a life? I mean, I don't know.
Mhm.
These are questions.
And I think if we were supposed to know, we would remember. So we need to learn or experience something to grow past wherever we started. And I think that's a crazy way to think about it, but that is how I think about it.
Some people
There's
have
so
to
many.
actually do things to learn them.
Yeah.
You have to be involved, and you really don't understand poverty unless you're dirt poor. You know, it's that type of. I think it is school. We're here. School is this school. We're learning something, and then when we're not here anymore, we're doing something else. But it's
Mhm.
all a big school here.
Well, it also
I
depends on what you came here to major in.
I think somewhere in the volumes of Seth says that we're here to learn how to be responsible with our creations,
Mhm.
since we create our own reality. And this is how we learn how to be responsible. It's somewhere in one of the books.
Mhm. Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
It does, yeah. Audrey says to learn lessons. That's why we're here. Joe said she remembers Seth saying we are a juvenile race and here to learn to create consciously, individual and also collectively. And
Mm.
I think the collectively is the really hard, that's the really hardest thing for me to grasp, is that collectively, if I create my reality, but I have to interact with all these other realities that may not be something I want to be involved with. Well, I can just turn the TV off, I guess, but it's still happening out there somewhere,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
so
think
that's
Seth
hard.
would say, Seth would say, which you and which reality.
So that's true. Yeah, that is a hard and deep one.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. Which you and which
I think
reality?
you said it many, many times. It's when you're trying to, like you just tried to describe, because we jump through realities and probable realities and probable selves so much, and we do it so naturally, we don't even know that we're doing it.
Mhm. Mm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The more I
Oh.
know, the more I find. The more I know, the more I understand I don't know.
Yes.
If that makes any sense at all, I don't know.
It makes perfect sense to me.
Oh, that's just amazing to me. I find it all, well, you hear this out of me all the time, but I'm just so tickled with the whole process. I find it fascinating. It just intrigues the heck out of me all the time. The more you learn about it, and it just, my God, it's magnificent. You know, it's so varied, it's so deep and intense, and you zone in on the part of it that you are here to develop in your own selfhood. You know,
Mm,
it's like what I was saying earlier when Jeffrey was making his point. It depends, you know, when he said which you, which reality. It depends on what you came here to major in. Some people need the real intensity of being in the situation themselves so that what they get from it are those little tiny bits that you would have missed if you were only reading about it.
mm,
You know what I mean? If you're living it, you're going to get a different view of it than the person who's ever so intellectual and well meaning. But it may not be that they're just ignoring you, it's just that they came here to do something else that was more of a big agenda for
yeah.
them. So their involvement in your particular thing is moot compared to the depth that you're going to go. You know, we're not all here to learn the same thing. And I find that fascinating. I
Yeah.
love to collect
Mhm.
people who have a very different agenda
And I,
that
I,
I
I
can
think
learn
that if,
from.
if,
I don't want to be them.
if you're on a path in this reality that you decide that you don't want to be on anymore, you just switch into an alternate reality when you're not doing that. The same, and
Right.
then the other version of you is the one doing it. So it's hard to.
Mm,
I find that the English language words uh, very difficult conveying,
limiting.
limiting to convey the knowings that you have. It's like trying to explain the color red to a blind person.
Mm.
Yes. Yes.
I took care of a blind fellow, and the hardest thing to the most fascinating thing for him to hear me try to explain was how a mirror worked. Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
because he would
Oh.
take that mirror and feel it, and he says, How does that work?" I would try to explain it, as best I could, but yeah, he marveled at that quite a bit.
Oh wow. That's very interesting indeed. I think that's so much of what we're going through in terms of trying to describe God. We are not necessarily in a position to understand it on a clear level. You know, there are some things about it we'll get and some things we'll discover, but we won't ever, in this form that we're in, completely understand it because it's outside of our range of perception, I think.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
right.
wow.
Seth kind of said, I think Seth said many times that he doesn't use the term God because God is too limiting. It has
Yeah.
built-in meanings of like a bell
Yes.
guy with a staff, and that
Yes.
Yeah.
that instead of using God, he uses the term all that is.
I prefer that so much. Oh gosh, I prefer that so much. Because otherwise it's so very limiting. Oh, gender wise, ethnic wise, etc., even species wise. I remember
Mhm.
earlier in our talking when I saw the message that Joe had left, where she was saying that the help comes in so many different forms, and that she felt sometimes the forms are not even human. Well, I really, really resonate with that. I've had several pets that I realized were here for another reason than I thought, and that I had a connection to them that I had never considered. You know, um, you can run into some unbelievably profound pets, and they come and they teach you things, they help you with things, they share things on another level. And it's like, who's actually the pet here? They're the one that have adopted me for a pet instead of the other way around.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes they make us feel that way.
Exactly. And I think that can be quite true in some instances. I have a friend in America who is sort of like that guy Cesar Chavez, who is the dog whisperer. She's a whisperer in the sense of much
Mhm.
bigger animals like horses and so
Mhm.
forth. And her pickup, her psychic abilities are profound. And to know that she's literally hearing the thoughts of these animals. Gosh, I wish some of the rest of us could hear that clearly. We would be treating them so differently. It made me on occasion feel ashamed for having been so shallow as to not realize how intelligent and profound they might be, and that they're looking at us wondering, what in the hell is wrong with these folks? Why can't they see this and this and this? Especially creatures like dolphins and whales who really have a major intellect, and they look at us and wonder, what is our problem?
No.
Makes you
I
feel
think
bad.
that a lot of people have difficulty when we talk about talking with the animals because they think that we verbally communicate, even though we form words and say, how was your day and stuff, where I believe it's more of a knowing, a transferred knowing from one thing to another. It is not verbal in nature, but it
Seems
still
like there's a
conveys
lot,
all the meanings.
a lot of emotion with it, and very emotional beings. Seems that way to me.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know I had a dog, and that dog definitely saw spirits.
Yes,
There's
yes.
no doubt in my mind that he saw spirits. He saw objects. Maybe there were other animals. I have no idea what he was seeing, but clearly he was after things that were not that visible to us.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So they have, well, first of all, they haven't been told what they can't do their whole lives.
Exactly.
They're just animals. They're just wide open and accepting of whatever is around them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we can learn a lot from animals.
I wonder what their perception and understanding of the God force is.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I
It
don't
might be
think that they
so
even think about
different
it.
and so without BS.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many people now that do communicate
Mm-hmm.
spiritually with animals that are alive and that have passed.
Yes.
Um, there's a girl that worked with us for a while, and she does remarkable work connecting people with their past
Mm-hmm.
animals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think
Wow.
if you ask any pet owner, about their pet, if they have a connection with them, they'll say that I know what they're saying. I mean, they talk to them all day
Yeah.
long, back and forth. It might not be verbal, but they know when it's time to go outside. They know if they want to. They know. I mean, I think it's just living together. You get this unverbal communication going on. Same way with married people, they don't even need to talk half the time and they know what each other are thinking.
Yeah,
True. It's true.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah. I know my
Jack meant to
puppy.
be here with us tonight, by the way, but he decided at the last moment he was going to have a nap, and it coincided with our new earlier.
Oh,
Oh,
I had a house full right up until 5 minutes after 6. I had a whole bunch of folks here.
well, he can always catch it on Facebook or YouTube. So
He'll
that's
join. Well, he's going to join us another time. Yeah.
good, good. Now, last week we did talk about Marco Governale, and
Yes. Yes.
I posted his talk. He's fascinating, and he cannot join us. I don't know why. I should try
I
sending him
saw.
the Zoom
I
link.
saw your message.
Yeah. Oh, good,
I
good.
saw
And I
your
did
message.
ask
Yes.
him to let us know when he's going to do it again. So, yeah, fascinating. And let's
Yeah.
see.
I just posted a review on his book
Oh,
on
good,
Amazon. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Joe was commenting on what
Interesting, man.
on parallel worlds. She said many parallel worlds. You just stay on your timeline. As Seth says, don't be so troubled with what's going on in all the other lives. If you live your life in your own joy and be happy yourself, you already help anyone you meet and be a positive vibe to the whole. That's wonderful. Our Facebook people are really, they're just jumping in. Judy says, talking
They're
about
wonderful.
animals, if you have access to Netflix, watch My Octopus Teacher. Amazing, sentient
I'll
creature.
write it down.
My Octopus Teacher.
You know, that's about the 5th time this week that has come up. Somebody recommended that to
Then
me.
you
I
must
can't
watch.
wait to turn it on.
I have Netflix. I will check it out.
I don't have Netflix, but I'll find it somewhere.
Okay. All right. And then let's see. Joe says, yeah, Mickey, I even have a huge male lion comes lying in my bed with me, give me power and reminding me as a teacher of my own strength. I learned the spirit animals are magnificent teachers. Beautiful.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Are you okay, Mickey? You looked shocked. So, and you know, so that takes me to a lot of American Indian teaching, the power
Yeah.
animals and meeting your power animals. And yes, that's so important. The big cat, give her strength.
I have found that the Seth teachings uh, are very much found in Native American religion. Religion's not the right word, but yeah,
Tradition.
it's
Huh?
Oh,
well, like the rocks talking and the spirits in the sky and the animal teachers.
well, they clearly
That's
believe
all
that.
very Sethy.
Yes, they
Yeah,
believe that everything has consciousness and that
exactly.
when you go out to pick herbs or vegetables, that you leave an offering of yourself in return and that you ask that, this is okay. And that you just aren't, grubbing everything and taking everything like humans did with toilet paper at the beginning of this whole pandemic thing, get back to that. But to be mindful of, only take what you need and ask nature and live in nature. So that's so important to everyone. And yes, Seth talked about that. And that is an American Indian, let's say indigenous, yeah.
Indigenous peoples.
people.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's interesting that you say toilet paper because at the beginning of the pandemic, when all the toilet paper was taken off the shelves, I had to stop and ask myself, there's no food on the shelves. They have no food in their cart. What do they need the toilet paper for?
That is true. And I hear there's going to be another run on toilet paper again. I don't know.
Hmm.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I
Time to switch to a different reality.
definitely, yeah, definitely. And Seth also said that our dream state is probably a truer reality than the one during our waking state because we don't have all the filters in place when we're dreaming. So to go to bed consciously asking that you remember your dreams or that you have healing in your dreams or whatever it is you're seeking, again, it goes back to asking your higher selves, angels, God, whatever it is you want to say, and going to bed with that intention. Our friend Ron Card, he goes every night with that intention on being at Seth Schoolhouse campus, and learning from the Seth Gestalt family.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it is all available to us if we could remember it, so that should be something we actively ask every night to remember.
Hmm. Probably
I
a good
really like the
idea.
new time.
Oh, good. So what is
New
it? Like,
time, I like the new time.
Yeah, it's good. It's better for me.
good for, oh, good. I'm so
Yeah.
glad.
Yeah.
So glad. Yeah, I heard a lot of comments in the beginning that, oh, it's way early, but,
Yeah.
people
For
will
some
catch
people,
on. When I was
yes.
alone, I kind of felt, the time was a bad choice, but you were all trying.
Well, I mean, it starts at 10 o'clock in the morning now in California, which is
Right.
better because, it's in the morning. I
Yeah.
think Mickey probably works for her too, because she's in a
Yes,
way different time zone.
right. She was finishing at almost midnight before. And
Mm.
so she was one of the people that I was thinking about for sure. And then for me, the 4 o'clock, the local group really wanted to get together again, and they wanted to stick with that 4 o'clock time. So this works for me because now I can grab a bite to eat in between the two things. But it's Death Sunday for me. It starts at like 12:30. I start getting on, and I'll be doing Seth book study through 6 o'clock tonight.
Mm.
Yeah.
I was thinking in my twisted mind about Facebook and the Facebookian. I call them Facebookians. It's kind of like Facebook is a place where they live, and then we come and visit them on Sundays.
Yeah.
And that they even have their own language. They have their own icons. They have consolidated language into abbreviations, and they have incorporated emotions into their dialogue with the little emojis and things. I just think it's when you start thinking about it as its own land unto itself, it's really quite fascinating how true it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a wonderful creation. A lot of people say a lot of negative stuff about Facebook, but I think it's just overall, it's just like, wow, what an amazing thing to have.
Yeah, I think I mean it's a good thing. I don't ever really get negative stuff on my Facebook feed.
Mm.
Um, but I don't look at negative stuff,
Yeah,
so they don't bring it to me.
yeah. I mean, I don't block anybody. I mean, if somebody that I don't know starts getting rude with me, I might block them. But I don't tend to block people because they say things I don't agree with. I just don't go there. Yeah,
Exactly. I don't
easy.
follow those people, but I'm
Yeah,
still friends with them. Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I try to say happy birthday to everybody every day. I do
Mm.
try. And I do miss some days, but I try.
Yeah,
Well, if you say happy birthday to everybody every day, that you're always going to be right at least once a year.
there you go.
Oh, yeah. Silly Jeff. That's right. I should just do a blanket. Happy birthday, everybody.
Yeah, we've all been every birthday anyway. Probably by now.
We're all just fragment personalities of the same.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe's talking about the time change. She says this is better for her. It starts at 1900 in her country. So
Mm.
that's much better because finishing she was finishing at midnight. Becky says there's a great new book by Robert Moss called Growing Big Dreams. He is in alignment with Seth and refers to him. So that's nice. I love that when people actually refer and give Seth credit for what they know, learned, whatever.
Mm.
Yeah. Thanks, Becky.
I couldn't imagine my life without Seth. Just couldn't imagine what I
You know,
just.
I can't anymore either. And he's new to my life, relatively considering you guys and how long you've been
Mhm.
studying it. He's very new for me. And since he's come to my life has completely transformed, like totally.
Mm.
I think that for when I look out into the world and with people who are have no idea about the Seth material look out in the world, I believe that we see two different worlds.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even look at the current situation in the world. If I didn't have the Seth teachings, I would be scared. I would be scared to go out.
Mm.
There's Mickey. Audrey's asking, was he on Super Soul Sunday? Well, Becky will have to tell us. I don't know. Wouldn't it be cool if Seth could be on Super Soul Sunday? Or just on Seth?
I think it would be cooler. I think it'd be cooler if he showed up as one of our little blocks on Zoom chat.
You know, I'm just going to have to set up a computer with his picture so
Yeah.
you guys could see him on here. Joe says she's with you, Martin. She fell in love with Facebook. So much info and connections, and not to mention all the Seth feeding daily in all the groups. Yeah. Yeah. Facebook is
Mhm.
Facebook, and weird as it may sound, this pandemic really brought, I think, the Seth community much closer.
Yeah.
Now, Martin, you get out and about all the time. You're still working daily.
Mhm. Yeah.
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 And,
I've never missed a day of work in years or something.
oh,
So,
wow. Great. And
so,
my business has been closed since March 22nd, but this
Mhm.
Saturday we're going to open for the first time. So and really New York is having more outbreaks, but I'm just going to go for it. I feel
Mhm.
safe, and I think the people that are drawn to come to what I have, I mean, I sell sage and crystals. You know, I think they feel the same way.
Mhm.
How are you, Jeff? Working still
Good.
from home?
No, I'm retired.
Oh, nice.
I retired at 62 because I just couldn't bear it another day. I
I,
had a 4 hour commute each day, so
oh, wow.
I'm
Mhm.
really enjoying mine. Of course, I do a few little side things here and there. You know how it is. But other than that, no.
Mhm.
I'm doing what I wanted to do, is have the opportunity to study the things I want to study without interruption, and
Mhm.
to do the arts and crafts and the things that interest me. And also, I do DIY stuff around the house. So I'm happy
We
as a
got a,
clam.
Nice.
we've got a little Seth Zoom box up out Jeff there on the wall.
Oh, I do
Jeff
see
has
him
a
there.
picture of
Yeah.
Seth on his wall. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just not noticed that. So
I
he is
see
there.
him.
I just put him up. I wondered if anybody would notice that he's peering over my shoulder at us.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I've been knee deep in Seth this week, and he just kind of
Mm.
wants to keep an eye on me.
Good. Good, good.
And then I got
Sorry about
at
that.
least a lot of my books.
How you doing, Mickey? Okay.
I'm okay. All emergencies in a row and together.
Oh,
So,
but everything's calm now. Good.
you want to see my unknown reality? It's one of the
Sure.
originals. It's in pieces.
And I had the wrong
Oh.
headphones in.
It's in pieces with a
Oh, I-
rubber band around it.
Oh, my-
I wonder how many other Sethies do that. I think a lot.
I do. Some of those early books I bought are in terrible shape. Because you do go
And
back
all the
over and
pages
back
are there.
over.
Mm.
All the pages are there. They're just not together.
you just need a new binder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rubber band works.
Oh, wow.
There were some of them where I put each page in a clear sleeve, so that you can still
Yeah,
see. Put it in
good
a
way to do
binder,
it.
and you can read both sides. Oh dear, I'm winded.
Oh dear.
Oh,
I was moving very quickly, and then when I finally got back, I couldn't find the mouse.
Oh,
oh,
I had put it in a strange place, when I jumped up in a hurry and I had taken it with me. And that kind of day.
well, we had a really slow start to this, but can you believe it? We got 15 minutes left,
I'm
14 minutes.
shocked. I'm
So,
shocked.
wow.
it was a slow start, but it's been a really, really good conversation. Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah. And the Facebook people have been they've been commenting a lot too. Becky posted, Linda Dahl Madden just posted, use that power that you have. It is multiplied. Use the freedom that you have, and it is multiplied.
Oh yes.
Thank
I
you
have all
for
of
posting
Linda's
that.
books. Linda's a friend of mine.
Oh,
Oh,
I
no.
have all of her books. She wrote 4 of them. I was her
I,
webmaster on her SNI website for 10 years.
Oh,
I
Um,
didn't know that. I've
she
not
has
heard of
4
these
books,
books.
and it's
Linda,
Living a Safe Universe.
yeah.
Not living
Oh,
in
I've
a
heard of
safe
it.
universe, living a safe universe.
I've heard of them. I just didn't
I
know
have them
who
here
the author
somewhere.
was. Wow.
yeah.
Interesting.
I don't think we have them all, but we do have some at the Seth house.
I
I've always
found the
liked her.
idea, that
She's-
title. Yes, Living in a Safe Universe. That alone
Living a
in a lot.
universe.
Living
Living a
a
safe
safe universe.
Living a safe universe. If you just wrap
She
your
has,
head around that and nothing else, you can go a long way.
she has 4 volumes.
Yes.
Hmm.
Interesting how all these things dovetail.
It was interesting what Linda said to me. I'm not going to speak for Linda. I can only say what she said to me. Is as she was closing the SNI Seth International website, is that I think it's still even have that email. She grew tired of reading and rereading all of the Seth books, that she was going to um, not stop reading Seth, but go on a new journey and start putting it all into practice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she did her 4 books, and she went on incorporating all the things that she's learned through Seth in her life, which is where I pretty much have gotten with our community Seth groups, where all we do is we read the same books over and over again, and we talk about the same things over and over again. We seems like we're just so happy to be around other Sethies.
Yeah.
That's what we see. It seems to be the rut we're in.
Yeah.
When I think Seth would want us to take those ideas and expand upon them, kind of like going from grade school to high school to college, and not just get stuck in the
And then
minutia
teaching.
of it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we do here. We talk about real life and how it affects us and how we act to things. Then I also hear people on Facebook that say, well, I thought there would be more Seth talk, but it seems that here we put Seth in practice.
Yeah.
So yes, we do Seth talk, we do a little bit of reading and quoting, but for the most part, it's how Seth is in our life.
Yeah. How it
Mhm.
works when it's working on you.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like to call it practical Seth.
yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Mhm.
Grown up Seth.
That'd be a good title for a book.
Yeah.
There you go, Jeff.
Practical Seth or Seth for grown
There you
ups.
go.
I'm not a writer. I am not. I am many things, but that's not one of them.
I say this.
Unless it's channeled, I'm open to channel, but so far nothing.
Nice. Have you ever
Oh,
done that?
are you open to channel?
Oh yeah, I'll get my little antenna on
Oh,
and bring it in. But so
that's
far nothing.
interesting. That's
Maybe down the
very
road.
interesting. Now, when you
I
were
think
talking earlier about it, I thought about how I have just run into Ashara and Kate, and all of this has manifest, but it's come after I took a 20-year hiatus from the reading of the books and got into deep, intense involvement in living them. And it's taken 20 years. And in 3 days, it'll be exactly 20 years. So
Wow.
now it's back
Hmm.
in a new learning mode again, but it's like show and tell.
That's what
Yeah.
that's where I found myself with the new book that I got of the early sessions book one. It's like I'm a whole new reborn Sethi. I have all this stuff I haven't read before, and I'm so
Yes.
excited. And I have browsers open and books out. And yeah, no, it's
I
just the way it
love
happens.
that.
Yeah, me too. I'm so excited now that I've gotten book one. And just about the time that I get 3/4 of the way through, I expect book two to manifest.
Very nice.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's manifest. We got that going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Audrey had a comment. She heard from Boston University, and the
Ooh,
library that has the Sonia Hamlin archives is still closed. So
oh,
at least she heard from them, and so she's still on it. She's very active, trying to get this information.
we miss you, Audrey.
Yes, we do. And I hope your tooth gets better.
Yes, we hope you. Well, we don't hope. We're going to make sure that
Yes,
your tooth
yes.
gets better. We're
And, and,
sending in energy.
and call
Yes,
tomorrow morning, first thing, and
yes,
at least get, something for the pain.
yeah, yeah. We're sending. I've asked some of my other fellow folks to send. Everybody in my periphery is sending you energy.
Yeah.
If we could just for a second, Linda Dahl, she has a very, very active website, Facebook presence, and you find her under Linda Matten Dahl.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's filled with Seth. It's just packed with Seth. Years and years of Seth stuff. It's a
Okay.
wealth of information.
That sounds really, really cool. I can't wait to go look into that. This has been very interesting. And I was thinking that we were going to get back to the thing about the letters, but I had to laugh because I was going to have to apologize that I was the one that brought it up, but I can't really talk about what happened in mine because it kept manifesting in different ways, different things I was being told about it. But then they got to be confidential.
Oh,
So it turns out that it's okay, it didn't come up.
okay.
But boy, that was wonderful. Whoever suggested that originally, you have done me such a humongous favor. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hmm.
And I'm moving on from there
And
into it.
it is so weird because I don't even remember it.
Oh,
Like I remember you talking about it last week, but last week I was not in any shape to do anything.
right,
But
exactly.
from the week before, I don't remember that.
Well, it
So
does work. And
good.
when you do come back to it, it's amazing what you can bring back with you because by the time you're looking at it again, your higher self has had a chance to get in on the act and say, yeah, well, while you're addressing that, think about this and this and this and this. And I was lying in bed with my mouth open going, oh my God, I never thought about that. The stuff just came for like 3 hours,
Oh,
just downloading.
nice.
So,
We have a new she's new here. I don't think she's a new Seth, but her name is Jade Lee or Lai, Li. And she said, "Hi all, glad to hear practical Seth." I love that. I'm
Yeah.
new here and she's from Hong Kong. So hi Jade, and I'm glad you're good
Hello,
with what we're
Jade.
doing. Yeah.
Love the
Hey.
name. Love the name. Yeah.
And Audrey sent a big heart. She's so sweet.
Well, Audrey has a big heart.
She does. Yeah. Oh, Jade is sending all little love things now. So our Facebook people are so cute. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
They're
And
all just
I
so
do
dear.
go back and I try to look at everything and I try to, Jeff lost his sound, but we'll hold on. I try to, pay attention and answer people, or at least like everything they say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's an amazing conglomeration of people and ideas, and it's absolutely wonderful. I think the spirit of what the information is about is definitely hovering around us. You know, it comes out of different mouths at different times,
Yeah.
even through the Facebook and the Zoom and the whatever. It's absolutely amazing. I'm so grateful for
Yeah.
that.
Jeff can hear again.
Jeff
Yay.
can
It's a
hear again.
miracle.
Yay!
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
miracle.
Right to the last.
Yeah.
We've
So
had a healing.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Your
Hey,
cable has been healed.
before I was a healer, computers were my thing.
Yes, me
That
too.
is, I was able to get computers to work that nobody else could get to work. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was a computer healer,
That's nice.
computer whisperer. Yeah.
That's really interesting. I'll have to
I
see
used
your
to build
chart.
and maintain websites for small businesses.
Yeah.
At
And
night, in
I
the daytime, I was a social worker.
Oh,
and I
wow.
was running a Commodore 64 user group.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah,
Wow.
one of the first.
Wow.
Hmm.
And I ran one of the first Mac user groups in this area.
And
There's
what's
such
even more amazing is
an
I understand
interesting
what you're
energy.
talking about.
Such an interesting energy between the Mackies
I
and the
know,
Commodores, and
but we're all geeks.
we were all geeks. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
My God, that was a
I
long
warm
time
up to
ago.
technology very slowly.
Oh, really? What
I
sign are you,
always am the
Martin?
last one to have any. I had dial up until about 2 years ago. I think it was
Oh,
2 years
come
ago.
on, you're kidding.
Yeah, I'm serious.
I
I've
didn't know
never,
dial-up existed for the last 20 years.
I'm never in any hurry to get the newest thing.
What
Yeah.
sign are you, Martin?
Gemini.
Oh, okay.
But I have a lot of Taurus influence.
Oh, there you go. That's
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Almost all my planets are in Taurus. That's
Oh
That's
dear.
one way
interesting.
or the other.
Whoa. Almost everything I have is in Scorpio.
Yeah.
No surprise there.
My rising sign Scorpio.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. You do have the
Yeah.
look. Yeah. Yeah. Kate, what is your sign?
I'm a Leo.
Oh my goodness. Says the lady with the beautiful mane.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm a Leo. And
There we go.
I don't know I have my original birth certificate, but there's no time on it. So I
Oh.
do not know when. I'm pretty sure I was born early morning.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't.
Probably.
Yeah,
Looking at you, if you do know that you are a Leo,
I am.
just looking at you says it was probably early in the morning because
Yeah.
the very first sign is the one of your sun. The first 2 hours, every 2 hours after that, it goes to the next sign and the next sign and the next. So
Oh,
you
so you
could
think I'm a
easily be a Leo
Leo?
with Leo rising.
Okay.
Yeah, you might be Leo.
I think
Double
so.
Leo.
I'm as Leo
Yeah.
as you can get.
Hello.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like I'm as Scorpio as you can get with a
Yeah.
twist.
My daughter's a Scorpio. I get along well with them.
Me
Wow.
too. I'm a Sagittarius. I was born on the cusp of Capricorn with a Libra rising.
Well, I'm on the cusp of Sag and Scorpio. So
So
that's why I said Scorpio with a twist.
I think I'm in the middle of the Leo. So I'm the 10th of
Mm-hmm.
all.
I'm cuffed with
Yeah.
Taurus.
You were
Like
probably
there's
born in the
Taurus
morning.
again.
Well, kiddos, it is 3 o'clock here. I cannot
Yeah.
believe 2 hours have gone by so quickly.
Very quickly.
And I'm so happy for the new people that have joined us, and Jade's happy with our practical Seth talk. And yeah, let's do this again next week. I think the 1 o'clock feels right. and
Yes,
good.
it's
And
good.
everybody else seems to think it's doing well. And I think we had more people on Facebook than ever. So I'll check, later tonight and see. We usually get about 250 watches,
Mhm.
which I think is wonderful.
Yes.
And I'm sure that doesn't mean they watched for the full 2 hours, but probably popped in and out. Oh, Jade
You
said
know,
3 years ago, she started reading Seth materials, all in Chinese. Very near future, I will read English versions. Um, hope, 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 hope to share more. For now, she's glad to be a listener. Great. Judy said, thank you. Enjoyed listening in. Big hug. That she's my teacher, my Reiki teacher.
Oh,
And, Audrey is saying, see you all next week. Heart, heart, heart. Joe said, I
yeah.
love the practical Seth here. Love to see how Seth's teachings work out in all the individual lives. Bye, dear Sethians. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bye, Joe.
bye.
And Jude.
Maybe,
And Judy and Jade and
Audrey.
Audrey.
Yeah,
maybe our Facebook friends next time could give us some suggestions of things that they would like us to talk about.
absolutely.
Mhm.
The one girl
Good
did.
one.
And I didn't hear
Yeah.
any more comments from her after she asked the question. So I thought they were, really good, valid questions. And, we, in the beginning of the pandemic, we really went into mass events. And, we really did. And,
Yeah.
I so didn't want to relive that again.
No.
But
Well,
I have to read it
for the,
because I've never been able to read it. I get just a little way in and
yeah,
it's just not my book.
right.
for
I get
our
so far and I stopped too.
Yeah.
for our
Yeah.
Facebook friends who want to know more about the nature of mass events, Tim Harthart reads the whole book on
Oh, yeah.
YouTube. So you do a search for Tim Harthart and then just go to his playlists and they're all grouped together by book.
Yes.
You can
Yeah.
read the whole, you can read
He's
along with
wonderful.
him from beginning to end.
Yes.
I
He
tell
is
you what, it's
wonderful. He's
great to
got a
put on
great
your
voice.
headphones at night when you're laying in the
Mhm.
bed to go to sleep and you let that all drift in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right. Well, and yes, Facebook people, I will post the new event and you guys could pose questions on that new event that I post
Or subjects that you
post.
would like it, or
Yeah.
subjects that you would like us to talk about.
Yeah, and then we'll look at them throughout the week. And and really, I think I send out some 15 to 20 invitations for the panelists here.
Hmm.
And you see how many are here. So
Hmm.
if you want to be a panelist, drop an email to info@thesethhouse.com and let me know, how Seth came to you, what you want to contribute. I think people are asking me to be a panelist. They really just want to listen on Facebook because when I ask them, I'm not getting clear. Oh, I don't want to talk. I just want to hear,
Uh-huh.
It
So
would,
if
it would be really, really nice if we could get some folks that are new to the Seth material.
Yes.
absolutely,
Mm.
Yeah.
absolutely. And talk, and you can ask your questions here and get your feedback as to, what do you think about all
Yeah. Some before and after.
yeah.
Exactly.
So right,
How are you, how is practical Seth in your life?
right.
Yeah.
You absolutely do not need to be a Seth expert. I don't know that any of us are Seth experts,
No.
No.
but I want to
Mm.
know when I'm giving the passwords to people that you're a real person and that
Hmm.
you really do care about Seth, and that you're really reading some of the books. That's all. I'm just trying to protect the group from the intruders, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not protecting the group from
Mm.
Sethians, it was the best way I could figure out
Mm.
to do this. So,
I would love to hear young Sethies and their take on all this. It would be so refreshing.
Yes.
Mm.
yes. I wish we could all be here for our local group. We have more young Sethies that come to the
Oh.
reading group. And, you know, and I can't get them involved to do the online stuff. They just don't want any part of it.
Uh-huh.
So
That's interesting.
so I'm gonna do both, you know, do the in-person stuff and do the online.
And this is what you go
Mm.
into after you leave this.
Yeah, I have about an hour between the two pieces. And I'm sure
Interesting.
people will start showing up anytime, and we're gonna do it in the backyard, and we're gonna have a fire, and it's gonna be great.
Oh, a fire. That's lovely.
Yeah. It's not, as
Oh,
long as it's not, yesterday was windy. It looks pretty still out there today, so.
I've been
Hmm.
looking at fire pits online for several days. You know.
We're gonna have like 30 below zero weather within about a week, they say here.
Holy mackerel. It is
Where,
gorgeous here. It was 82 degrees yesterday. I did a
where
yoga
are,
class outside. It was so beautiful.
it's been in the 70s here. It was 105 a week or so ago.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is crazy. Yeah. Oh, well.
Martin, where are you where it's so cold?
Oh, South Dakota, near
South
Minnesota.
Dakota.
Gee whiz.
Yeah.
It's getting that cold already?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, there's a big storm coming in.
Oh.
My
It's gonna
goodness.
be a lot of snow and ice and
Well,
deep
you love
down in the
that.
zeros.
You love that snow.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I
Actually,
That's the
don't.
Eskimo in me.
South Dakota as a state seems
Actually,
to be
I'm part
a good
Eskimo.
place to live.
Yeah, yep, it
Of all
is.
the things
It's
I've
very
heard and
nice
read
here. I
about
love it
South
here.
Dakota.
So I'm saying, okay,
Yeah.
to Audrey, she wants to take a picture of the fire. I'll post a picture of the fire tonight.
Oh, that'll be nice. Yes, do that.
You never know what you might see in those flames.
Well, then, Audrey, you have to take a picture of a firefly since you do nature.
Oh, at this time of the year, that will be hard to find.
Well, you never know what'll manifest.
Well, this is
One
true.
will find you this week.
One little firefly. Okay.
Is it a firefly or is it old dead Aunt Edna coming to visit?
It might be.
Oh, that's so funny. All right, guys, I have to get ready for the next thing. So I do have
Okay.
to say goodbye.
See
And
you
Alright.
later.
we'll see you next week. And we'll all be watching Facebook to see any posts from new Sethies, old Sethies, in between Sethies, whatever. Okay. Love you all.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Love you.
Bye.
See you
Love
next
you